What's up with my hair? Looks like a brick wall. Whatever, that doesn't matter. We are outside to review and summarize the book Patron, Saints of Nothing. I'll be summarizing each and every chapter. Chapter 1, Wisdom from on High. The main character, Jay, and a supporting character, Seth, are strolling around on the roof of their old elementary school. Seth smokes a cigar, and Jay refuses to, which means he's a good boy. Jay and Seth talk about how Jay got into Michigan University, and how Jay doesn't really want to go to college because he doesn't want to spend his time on that. Chapter 2, Unanswered. Jay is playing video games, which he plans to do for the rest of the summer, but Jay's dad walks in and tells him that his cousin June is dead. It's horrible news. There will be no funeral and no mention of him. Jay was great friends with June, so this news was shocking and heart-stopping. Chapter 3, How He Lived. Jay is curious and wants to know how he died. He also doesn't want to be alone on this. He asks his father through the door what happened, but he doesn't answer. Next, he calls his sister. She's in college and had a party last night, and she just woke up. She did not hear about June's death and does not really care because she didn't know June that much. Jay then recalls how June and Jay, they wrote letters back and forth to each other because June lives in the Philippines, and Jay lives in America. Jay reads one of the letters that June sent before he ran away 4 years ago. Chapter 4, An Improvement to Society. Jay is up late at night and goes downstairs to see his mom. His mom works all day, and when he gets down there, she's drinking coffee. Jay asks her about June. She says that there's a drug war going on in the Philippines, and President Dude. I'm stuck, I gotta look this up. I'll put the name up here. I don't know. Sure. He's trying to get rid of all the drugs in the country. He gets rid of them by getting rid of the sellers and the users. Chapter 5, A Narrower Country Than Expected. Jay does some research online. He finds that people are being killed because they are using drugs. He finds a website called Gissing Na PH. I think that's what it's called. The website has pictures of people holding photos of their loved ones that were killed by the police. He's late to school the next day. He ignores Seth, but he finally tells him about June. Chapter 6, Let Me Go. Or Let It Go.
Let it go! Let it go!
Alright, now, Jay gets a message from a random Instagram account that it's a link and a picture of June, who has tattoos on, sitting on a curb. The person said that June was innocent and did not deserve to die and did nothing wrong. This gives Jay hope and thoughts that he can prove June's innocence, that he shouldn't have been killed by the cops, and give him justice. He thinks he could do this by going to the Philippines. Chapter 7, Grounded. After a long conversation, Jay convinces his parents to let him go.
Let it go! Let it go!
To the Philippines. But he cannot mention his cousin. Chapter 8, Like a Fog. Jay gets on the plane. Chapter 9, The Strength of My Conviction. Jay reads one of the letters from June while he is on the plane. The letter shows June's sympathy for the poor. Chapter 10, A New Silence Arrives. June gets off the plane and gets picked up by his Tita Ami, cousin Angel and Grace, and the driver Thomas. They do not talk a lot. Chapter 11, Some Small Rebellion. We get to their big house. Tita Ami gives Jay a tour. Then, Jay reads one of June's letters and goes to sleep. Chapter 12, Every Single Surviving Word. Grace wakes up Jay for dinner. At dinner, he is intimidated by Tito Manning, his uncle, who is a chief police officer. Tito Manning asks many questions about Jay and seems disappointed that he's not going to Harvard like his brother. Jay learns about the rules of being in the house and returns to his room. He finds that his letters are missing. Oh my. Chapter 13, Not an Answer to the Question. Jay thinks that maybe Tito Manning could have taken the letters because he wants no mention of June. He sneaks into Tito Manning's office and gets caught by Angel. Angel gives him the key to open a drawer that he finds a paper that has June's name on it. He took a picture of the piece of paper, and Tito Manning was coming, so he put the key away, and he ran off. Chapter 14, Lead the Way. There are so many chapters. Then they go to the mall, where they meet with Grace's friends, Grace's girlfriend Jessa, and Jessa's sister Mia. Then they split up and walk around the mall. Chapter 15, You Can Hold On To Me. Not really, but that's the title of the chapter. Jay learns that Mia is a journalist. He tells Mia about June and everything. Mia had no idea because Grace never told her that June even existed. Chapter 16, All That It Means. It's a very short chapter. Jay finds out that Mia has a boyfriend. Chapter 17, A Visit. Not like that stupid movie.
Would you mind getting inside the oven to clean it?
Tito Manning interrogates everyone at dinner about their day. Grace comes up with some lies. Jay wants to ask questions about June, but doesn't have the guts to do it. He's not brave enough. Chapter 18, The Word of God. Jay goes to church, and Mia texts Jay that he should talk to his Tito. Chapter 19, That Last Part Aloud. This is a very intense chapter at the second half. Tito Manning takes Jay to the History Museum. It is very boring, but Tito talks about how President how good he is the whole time. It is raining as they are about to leave, and Jay asks the question that I never thought he would ever be able to ask. My heart was beating 50 beats per second. He asked what happened to June. Tito reveals that June was doing drugs and that he gave June an option to stay or to leave and do drugs. Tito said that June chose drugs over his family. Myself and Jay believe that Tito Manning is lying. Chapter 20, A Complete Waste. Jay has to stay with his Tita Chato and Tita Ine because Tito Manning does not want him to stay at his place anymore. He texts Mia, who is close to where his Tita lives. Chapter 21, Fail Him to Death. Jay tells his Titas everything that happened. They say that Tito did find drugs in June's room, but his father gave him no choice, and he sent him right out. They know that because June came to them, stayed with them for a full year. He went to school, but he started ditching to go to the library. Chapter 22, This Poem is a Typhoon. There's a box of things that June left behind. Not much, but some books in there. And then Jay texts Mia what he found out. Chapter 23, Let's Do It. Nike. No, Nike's Just Do It. Never mind. Jay wakes up and eats breakfast. And Mia shows up. She said that she contacted a librarian, and she said that the last place he sent June books to was in the slums. And he didn't know June was dead because who was updating the website? She said, what website? And he hung up. Now, Jay and Mia are going to meet up with Mia's professor. He's going to take them to the slum. Chapter 24, The Wide Eyes of the Lost. They meet up with Brian Santos, the professor. Then they go to the slums, and they meet a girl named Reina. Chapter 25, A Universe Where People Do Not Die for Doing What Is Right. I have the most type for this chapter. Hang with me. Reina says that June lived with her. She was taken by men when she was young, who said that they were looking for young girls to work overseas as domestics. This was not the case. Her father sold her to the men as a slave. Jay's Tita Chato runs an organization that saved Reina and other girls. And Reina stayed with Tita Chato, Tita Inés, and that's how she met June. They finally found a permanent place for her to live with a family that just had a baby. She would take care of the baby and it all works out. But the husband was mean. But Reina did not want to bother Tita Chato again because she thought that would be rude, so she never told anyone. But it got too out of hand that she called Tita Chato, but it was actually June on the other line, and June sent her to the slums because she didn't want to live with them anymore. June checked on her a lot, and then they fell in love. And when he was checking on her, That's when he was skipping school, so he didn't go. He went to both places, library and there. So Raina and June fell in love. June moved in then. That's where he left to. He lived there for 2 years. But what happened in the 4th year? And then June left her. Why? They say because he's a runner. He leaves every situation that gets bad. Chapter 26. Everyone loses their... I'm not saying that word. June doesn't want to tell his titas what happened for respect of Raina. Chapter 27. To flood. Jay and his titas go to the beach. Chapter 28. It's center unsolved. Jay checks Instagram and the strange account that texted him was deleted. Also, the link that the Instagram account sent was guessing not PH's website. Chapter 29, another day in the minefield. Jay finally sends a message to his parents, who he hasn't talked to since his argument with Tito Manning. Next, he texts Seth. Then he follows Grace and Angel on Instagram. He goes over Grace's Instagram and finds a picture of June that the other Instagram account sent him.
It was Grace.
They DM back and forth. June was running the website Guessing Not PH. The cops found out, and that is why June left Raina, to keep her safe. Now Grace is running the website, which is very dangerous. Chapter 30, go back to sleep. They are now driving to his Lolo and Lola's house, his grandparents, and they're going there for a family reunion. Chapter 31, bravery as if it were my own. They get there. Next they have dinner. Then Jay looks around for the bathroom, and he finds Grace's backpack, and it has papers in there. You know where I'm going with this.
It was Grace.
She took June's letters. Grace comes in and says that she misses June and wants something as a reminiscence. They say that they need to stand up for what is right. Chapter 32, the darkness uninterrupted. Get ready for another intense confrontation. Jay steps up to Tito Manning and asks what happened to June. Then his beer was slapped out of his hands. By who?
It was Grace.
They say that Tito knew where June was up until his death. Tito Manning said that was true. Jay says that he had June killed so that he wouldn't expose what him and Deutscher was doing. Things escalate, and Tito shoves Jay against the wall. Lola stops this, and Tito Manning says that he did not kill June or have June killed, and to ask Tito Danilo, who is a priest. Chapter 33, A New Life. Jay and Grace wake up very early in the morning to go to the church that Tito Danilo is at. Tito Danilo reveals that
It was Grace.
just kidding. He says that June came to him a few days before he died and said he was tired of everyone telling him what to do, and that he ran away from Raina because he was doing drugs and didn't want her to get involved. This is shocking. Why would he ever live this life? Shabu was cheaper than food, which was probably the reason. June left and was killed a few days later by a vigilante. Tito Danilo takes Jay and Grace home. Chapter 34, To Resurrect. Jay questions if finding out the truth was worth it. Chapter 36, How to Live Without Him. They arrive home. Grace tells Jay that just because June was a drug pusher and user doesn't mean that there wasn't good in him, that he wasn't worthless. Grace suggests that they should have a memorial for June. Chapter 37, All the Darkness in the World. They all light a candle and say something about June. Jay pulls out a letter and reads it. He wrote the letter. And Tito Manning says something eventually too. Chapter 38, Seed. Tito Manning may change, but it will take a while. They rent an ATV and go and ride to the base of Mount Mayon. Chapter 39, Every detail of this finite moment. Jay says bye to his Lolo and Lola. Chapter 40, Our Separate Ways. Jay meets up with Mia one last time. Mia says that she wants to write about Jay's story. They hug for a long time. And bye. Chapter 41, Patron Saints There's Nothing. Hey, that's the title of the book. Jay gets on the plane and reads his favorite letter from June. And it talks about all the patron saints. June says that he'd be, patron saint of nothing, Huh. June and Jay. Patron saints of nothing. The theme of this book is to speak up for what is right and make yourself be heard for the greater good. This book was fun, shocking, and emotional. I give it 8 out of 10. This book is fictional, but the drug war and President dictatorship is real and serious. That is it for this video. Thanks for watching. Well, wait, you have to watch it. Never mind, whatever. Have a great day.